The Lord your God is always with you. He celebrates and sings because of you. And lots of times that's translated as he sings over you. But when you think that the God of the heavens sings because of you, he is so moved by your presence that God becomes a symphony of love. He celebrates and sings because of you, and he will refresh your life with his love. And I think what scripture tells us, what kicks fear to the curb is his perfect love. So do we have a soundtrack of his perfect love? That's right, on loop in our head, because there is a soundtrack all the time happening in our head about who we really are and whether we really fit. And the enemy of our soul is always the persecutor that says, you don't belong, you're not really part of this community. And we know that, yes, wounds happen in community, but healing happens in community. So you need this loop in your head that says, yes, I belong at this table. And the Lord of the heavens and the earth doesn't just sing over me, he sings because of me.
So tell me this, when you've overcome a couple things and you think you're making some headway, and then
Mm.
you're right up against it again. You just like, it's like a bad friend that comes like you were counting on them, and then there was like kind of broken trust, but then you counted on them again and it just let you down. What do you do? Like, how do you, like, at a really practical level, when you've trusted again, you summon the courage to risk again, to trust again, and then you find yourself disappointed? What have you done? You had all the positive things going, and then yet you're like, here I am again.
And I think that happens. And I think it's really important not to beat ourselves up when we're in those kind of spaces again, because it's not that things happen not because necessarily someone's done something wrong, but we live in a broken world, and a broken world breaks our hearts. So I think it's really important to be really gentle with ourselves. Sometimes sometimes our roads turn in unexpected ways. But I think if we always believe that grace is coming to meet me in this particular moment, I may not understand how this is going to be worked into good. But if I can meet all the turns in the road with an open hand and say, oh, there's a gift in this too. There's going to be an adventure in this too. I don't have to shirk back from this, but I can lean into this and trust that there are good things up ahead. But I think that comes only from, do I have a rhythm of life and a way of life that lets me keep my hands wide open, that lets me keep counting it as gifts. And then when I live into that posture of surrender and receive it as a gift, faith gives thanks in the middle of the story. It may not look like it's a good thing right now, but if I give thanks in the middle of the story, I'm going to trust over time, God's going to work this into good too.
I really like what you said about not beating yourself up. Friends that are
Yes.
around me for just a little bit will repeat this phrase: I'm not a pinata. I'm not a pinata. This is not candy coming out of me.
So
So,
good. Because
yeah.
I think even what you said, Bob, about, sometimes to hear the truest voice in the room isn't necessarily the loudest voice.
Yeah, let me just raise one thing that I think a lot of people feel and do, and it's deferral. What they'll do is, we're
Mm,
not ready to deal with something yet, and so we push it off. And there's some healthy version of that. Like every wave, there's a front side and a back side. So
yes.
sometimes it's just not the right time to, and then insert here, whatever it
Yes.
is. But I
Yes.
don't want to just defer things so I don't have to deal with them. And
Mm.
I think for the friends that I get to talk to often, I'll say, like, wow, is that wisdom or is that deferral? Because deferral is not your friend either. Deferral's like that friend that laughs at you behind your back. Think of like when this darkness gets you to defer, it's like they're laughing. It's like, I got her to take the bait again. I
Uh,
got
uh,
her
uh.
to take the bait. And I want to just say, like, I want to kick that to the curb. I want to
Okay, so
identify it.
why do you think we sometimes lean into deferral? Are we afraid of something, Bob?
Yeah, it's like there's we don't want to go full like Peter and do the whole denial, I've never heard of him thing.
Yep.
So what we do is I defer. I'm going to think about that later. And
Yep.
so what we do is we are taking the things that are right in front of us right now and dealing. If you've got a job that is sucking the life out of you right now,
Mm,
you
mm,
are two
mm.
words away from a new beginning. I quit. And now some of you are hanging on because you're just afraid of, like, what would that mean and all that. You have this strained relationship with ambiguity, that ambiguity equals pain is around the corner. And I would just like go back to that to
Mm.
say, gosh, like, why is that? Why is it that you would just stop doing something that wasn't lighting you up anymore, and start doing something to say there's this underlying fear that I'm going to be living in the back of a Chevy if I quit my lousy job that I don't like anymore. And I want to say, like, I think I wouldn't defer that. I would say instead, let's understand it like this: make your request known to God. but God already knows your request. Like he already knows what you want. I think it's make it known to yourself so you can say, instead of God, I'm totally stressed out, you can actually say, I am stressed out about these 4 things. Because you've
Mm.
done some of that work instead of kicking the can, deferring it, saying, well, I'm just going to, it ain't much of a job, but it's like, it's whatever. And there's some honorable work that we each have to do that's not like lighting us up. I don't know about you, Anne, but I find writing books to be just very tedious. Like you, like every
It,
word is spelled differently. It's just killing me.
but I think like the person who thinks, oh, they're scared to say those 2 words, I quit, or scared to jump into a dream like writing a book, because it's hard and it's tedious and it feels like this major risk that maybe you would fail at. But I think inside of each one of us, Bob, we have dreams that we'd rather fail at than never take a stab at. I, I think
Yeah.
we I think we have dreams that we'd rather risk feeling defeat than risk feeling regret at the end of our lives. So anyone who's like, I think, yes, sometimes taking that leap of faith, it feels like fear before you take that leap. But I think, you know what, I'd rather risk failing at this than I'd want to never take a stab at it.